In this episode, we will be talking about the oldest mermaid known to folklore and mythological history, the fertility goddess herself, Atargatis. Tune in. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Shoot the 60 podcast. My name is Zai.
I'm Mo.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about something really mythological, something maybe real, maybe not real. I don't know. It's really up to your own interpretation. Today, we're going to be talking about mermaids.
Ooh, is it given Ariel? Or is given...
It's actually funny because I was going to do a little research on the story of The Little Mermaid because I did just a little brief research on it. But the author of The Little Mermaid, Hans Christian Andersen, he wrote The Little Mermaid in 1836. And according to some sources, I mean, I feel like, well, before I get into like all of mermaids and just this kind of topic, all the information I found, it's very, could be real, could not be real. It's based on a lot of, people's research, their own interpretations of like what happened. But I feel like it's really up to your own imagination to believe it or not. So
I think they're real.
I think they're real too. So again, Anderson, he actually based The Little Mermaid based on his own experience in life. So he said he actually saw a mermaid and the kind of, we all know the storyline of The Little Mermaid. He based it on his life and I think his kind of love and infatuation I think he had of mermaids and then kind of created The Little Mermaid. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, I love when authors create stories based on their own experiences. So do we think he saw a mermaid? Probably. I think all that shit's real. Why not?
What is he is, you said Irish? Did you say that?
No.
What's his name? Hans? Yeah, he's something.
He's something like that. Yeah. But he definitely said he based it off that. So I was going to do Little Mermaid and, where he found all his research and stuff. But then I was like, well, people do know about The Little Mermaid. So I was going to do a story on another famous mermaid. But I did want to give a little background on mermaids and sirens. So
I was just about to say,
so like just a little tidbit. Again, the information I have, it's like, you can look it up on your own, but this is just kind of like a general overview. So as we all know, the kind of glorious and like flawless and flowy vibes of mermaids.
Yes.
I kind of realized that sirens and mermaids are actually like pinned against each other. And I thought they were the same. But according to the internet, they're kind of different. So
sirens are evil.
Yes. Okay, so I didn't know. I thought like sirens and mermaids were the same thing.
Oh no, like sirens are like they lure men or something like that.
Yeah, girl. No, you're on it. So apparently people get it confused. Mermaids are half fish, half humans. Sirens are sometimes half fish, half human, sometimes half bird, half human. So I was like, yeah, girl, I was really confused at the half bird thing because I was like, wait, what?
I never heard that before.
So then they're notorious for causing storms, causing shipwrecks, and luring people in to their death. Okay. So then mermaids are, like the 180 on it, where they're just beautiful, friendly women singing. They do lure men in, but they lure them in with their beauty and their voice. They typically have long blonde hair. And they're typically curious about, I know, girl, it was giving really
now they got blonde hair.
I know, it was giving really white in the description. I was just like, damn, black people can't be mermaids now.
Right.
So, again, research, it always alters the perception of things. But again, research at your own discretion.
Does it have any, geographical location?
Yes. So, now, okay. Two things on just geographical location.
Okay.
So the first sighting of a mermaid was seen over 650,000 years ago. Did I say that right? 650,000. Whatever that.
I'm gonna say you're right.
Yeah. So a long ass time ago. And then like recent sightings, because I was just kind of like seeing like where are they today? Yeah. Some were seen in Japan, some were seen in South Korea, Denmark, and even in the U.S. in Florida. And I believe Florida. Florida's kind of weird.
Some shit going on.
Yo, Florida's kind of weird, bro. My grandparents live in Florida, and they said they seen gators, like what other stuff be in the water, like literally in there, literally kind of in their front yard. So I'm like, I believe mermaids. So they've seen mermaid sightings in Grafton, Vermont, and then in Florida, Apollo Beach in Waikiki.
Waikiki?
No, it's Wiki. Are you so excited? Weeki, Florida. So wherever that is, they've seen sightings actually within the last 5 years. So again, quite relevant if I do say so myself. But just getting into, the mermaid of today's conversation, her name is Atargatis. Atargatis.
We're going to call her Addie.
I like Addie.
We're going to call her Addie.
And let me just tell y'all, the research I did on Addie, she kind of that girl, like, she had power over people. I fuck with her.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is Addie's existence documented?
So, she's kind of like a myth.
Okay.
And like folk tale. Mm-hmm. But when you do research, like for example, like when I was doing my research, I kind of just Googled famous mermaids. Like, I just wanted to know, like, who was famous. Uh-huh. And then, of course, Little Mermaid came up. And, like, what's the one who has the thing in front? Oh, I'm gonna put the picture. I forget her name, but...
Oh, no.
Yeah, I forget her name offhand. But there are some famous mermaids in, like, pictures and famous paintings and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then I kept seeing her name, Atargatis, or Addie.
Addie. Little Addie from over west.
Yeah. I kept seeing Addie. And I was like, well, who is this girl? Like, who is she? So she really stuck out to me. So she's actually the oldest mermaid in human folk history and mythology. So I thought that was pretty cool because she was a continuation from the Bronze Ages of the goddesses such as Atargatis, and Sahara. The names are challenging. If you
Sahara.
Then look, these were time periods from 2100 BC and 1200 BC. So again, we're talking about before even this century was constructed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just like she became a lot more popular around the Iron Age, which is also known as the classical period, which is 510 and 404 BC. Mm-hmm. So, people have known about her for a really long time. So she kind of became famous because she was known as a fertility goddess. Oh. So, which I thought was like really on brand for a woman. Cause like, yeah, bitch, like, okay, kind of that girl. I don't know, like she just became so cool to me. So she was a goddess from North Syria where like she was hugely worshipped. Okay. She was talked about really a lot there.
Okay, quick question for you. Yeah. Are mermaids immortal?
Oh, it's funny you ask that because like I have like a whole little tidbit on like how they can be let's think because I literally was like, how do they survive? How do they reproduce? Like,
how? Heavy like, on how the fuck do they reproduce?
Girl, hold on. I have a few theories. We can just pause on Addie real quick. Uh-huh. I have a few theories. So, the theories of my research. So, how does their race reproduce? Mm-hmm. One is a spanning of essential group orgies.
Oh my God!
The female releases eggs into the water, and then the men mermaids swim around and fertilize.
Oh, them. So there are men mermaids.
They are men mermaids. Yes, they are. They are men mermaids.
I think they're called crazy.
Yeah, I was like, but like just producing eggs out, and then apparently once the egg is fertilized, it comes into the water, and then like they're hatched. Very interesting things. Oh. So this is usually done in groups a few times a year.
Okay, so yearly orgies.
Like maybe like quarterly orgies. Quarterly orgies. And you're just like, you don't know who your mama is, you don't know who your daddy is. You just kind of like vibing. So that also actually implies that there's not much attachment from child to mom to dad. Okay. Because like since the mom, I guess it's just like a woman's reproductive system. Like release so many eggs, you don't know which one's going to get attached to sperm. So it's just like, that is interesting. But I wonder if like a guy just comes by or a guy mermaid just comes by and he just like fertilizes 50 of them.
So question. I mean, is it like so many questions?
I saw an image. It was kind of weird. I can't
Please.
It was a little weird. We're gonna pop it up. It was a little weird. Like they were kind of like chest to chest, and I'm like, is it like you just sprouting it out? And...
So I guess a question I have, right, And I guess this is I don't even know if you know the answer to this, because this is a question that people have about animals.
Yes.
Are they reproducing for pleasure, or is it like like they have to?
I'm gonna say both.
Okay, I'm like, does she have to release these eggs because her body just has to?
Oh, right, because her body is like naturally made like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say both, because in order to keep in order to keep your race going, you have to repopulate.
Right, and you said they have humans, so they still have a certain level of consciousness.
Yes, it's actually interesting, just even about the human part of it, because when I was doing, again, I've only just researched Addie, and her origin story is kind of interesting, but we'll tap into that, in a bit.
Okay.
So just circling back to just Syria, and then that's kind of like her place of origin, and where people were talking about her a lot. And I think that she got her name, or she became like such a important figure because I think because of the fertility. I'm assuming which it kind of circles back to just like how mermaids are made. I don't know. I'm assuming maybe it was a time in their country, or like in that time where like maybe fertility was not happening enough, or like it was a problem. It was an issue. Yeah, it was an issue. So I think like her magical powers came in and helped them out a lot.
She gave them hope, and she saved the
exactly.
Women who were
That's
infertile.
typically how goddesses or like gods are. Typically, they come into a community or a place that is lacking, and when they bring
whatever they have. Yeah,
then you're like, oh shoot, we should praise you. Yeah. So I'm gonna assume that's how it went down. So when we talked about Addie. There were a few things that were associated with her. Okay. Doves, fish, and lions. So doves symbolize love and kind of like unity and peace, which is kind of like an overall symbolism of doves in general. Right. Fish, they symbolize fertility and the life of water. I thought, and again, that's what I'm like, and I feel like, why boo the Pisces, dude? Why boo the Pisces? They're all right. Yep. Do you like Pisces? You don't like Pisces?
They're emotional. They're super emotional.
Well, it's funny because she had lions, and I was like, oh, I like this bitch because
Leo, lions. Big Leo.
Look, everybody knows I have big Leo energy. Like big Leo energy. So, and it's funny because about the lions, I didn't have any explanation, but when I saw pictures, because like I tried to like find statues and pictures of her. She has a lot of sculptures where she's sitting on a throne and she's guarded by lions. So maybe that was like protection. I don't know. I feel like they associate a lot of good things with her. And I just like the kind of, I guess, depiction they had of her. Like she didn't come off as like an evil person. She didn't come off as like, just somebody who was like negative. It just seemed like she just had good energy. So nice. I really banged with her.
We fuck with Addie.
So the Syrians actually loved Addie so much that they refused to eat fish or doves. I don't know why you eat a dove, but they refused to eat fish or anything from the water.
They'd have been mad at me because, I love me some
Girl,
fish.
you are pescatarian. You do love that. You do love that fish out of... not fish out of water, but food out of water.
I do.
Food out of water. So, but they did this as a form of honor and respect to Atargatis. They really, really like praised her. Like I even saw a story, and I almost wasn't going to include it, but I'll just like summarize a little bit. Somebody, I don't know who he was, but all in all, he in order to show his like honor to his wife or whomever, he like castrated himself because I think the goddess, when it came to like fertility, right, and then like being like loyal to your partner, right, I think that in order for the guy to show that he was like, to prove to Addie that he was loyal to his wife, he castrated himself, which was kind of an oxymoron.
They don't make him like that no more,
girl.
They don't make him like that
yourself free. I mean, I don't know what to do with you because like
thanks for that.
I'm not even gonna hold you. This story, again, I didn't put in my notes because I was kind of like, when you're reading something and you're trying your hardest to understand, but you're just like, I don't know how this correlates. I think he did it to prove his loyalty to his wife, prove his loyalty to Addie, and just say like, I am a wholesome man. I can be loyal to my wife and I can stand to stand. I'm like,
it didn't make sense.
There are other ways
I like the thought, but the plan was
castration is so extreme. So yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I also thought it was interesting that she had that kind of hold over these niggas, because I'm like, damn girl,
yeah.
But then hold out, because this is what, again, you know when you just be researching, you be like, hold on, bitch, because I think any kind of hold on somebody is kind of evil. Because I'm like, even though depicted in a nice positive light, I'm like, well, what kind of
there's that line of like obsession and just, I guess, believing in something.
Exactly. Because I'm just like, girl, what?
Because it's like now you're getting into like self-harm.
Now we're getting into self-harm. Now you're tapping into someone else's marriage and telling them what they should or should not do. It's just like, that was a bit much. So I was just like, I'm going to leave that where that was at. Yeah. But that was interesting. So, I know, right? Crazy. So getting into just like a little possible origin story of her. Mm-hmm. So the Greeks, the Greeks would call her Derceto, and the Romans would call her the Syrian goddess. Okay. And according to, both, what are they?
Groups.
We'll call them groups. Both groups. These are two stories of like how she might have descended. Yeah. So story 1, she was descended from the heavens in the form of an egg, and then she was placed in the water, and she was guided by a fish to shore. Supposedly, doves incubated the egg, and she was emerged as a mermaid. So
I don't like that one. It doesn't make sense.
It gave like. Again, I swear to goodness, I'm like reading the story. I even watched like 2 YouTube videos because I'm like, let me explain this to me because I don't know what you're talking about. She was just like, again.
She came from the heavens.
She came from the heavens. And the fish egg came down.
The fish guided her. The dove got on top of the egg. And then she was born.
Brought it to the shore. And then she was born half woman, half fish.
Okay.
And it's just like, okay, I still had a lot of questions in regards to the human part and the fish part, because
it's the human part where I'm confused.
Where I had like questions and just in general of just like mermaids being created or like how they're come about. A few like researchers and just people who are like in this field, they say that mermaids are formed through over time of just being in the sea. Okay. So, and I can believe that kind of, because I feel like
so like adapting to your environment.
Yes, literally. Like that's what a lot of researchers were saying. Where
I don't believe it.
But it's so interesting because it's just like, I guess if you're you would assume a human goes into the water, you die because like water into your lungs. Yeah, it's over. Like you only got about like 30 seconds for that. You know, like I guess to like really process. I don't know, like maybe a few minutes. Yeah, but to like be in water and then to submerge, adapt, and then, your legs come together.
I don't believe it. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. That's I'm like, how do your legs just go together? Then a tail grows and then you grow gills and then you can breathe underwater.
So I have 2 questions for you. Yes. My first question, is there any way that Addie, I guess like her origin story, is it linked to Greek mythology in any type of way? Like, did you find that she was linked to like any of the gods or goddesses?
So I did find that she had some kind of correlation. Oh, I wish I remember the lady. She was in a clan and she had the thing here.
Is that Venus?
There. Oh, she has a popular name too. I can't think of it. I can't think of it.
I know who you're talking about.
The clan lady
yes. She covered her punani.
Yes. She had correlation to her. And then somehow that, girl, you know how like Greek mythology, that's a whole.
It's a whole nother. Woo!
Let me tell you how that, the YouTuber I watch, she fast forward like 5 minutes. Somehow it ended up the Zeus. I said, now, bitch, how we get the Zeus? Because I'm like, I thought he was the goddess of the lightnings or light or whatever. Yeah. Whatever he's the god of. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, so she is correlated in there. Again, when she's identified and she's talked about as the first or the oldest mermaid known to folk history and mythology.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure her correlation, especially being a goddess of fertility, I'm sure she had crossed some paths with other mythological creatures. Yeah. Yes. Second question.
So how do us mermaids become sirens? Like, do we are mermaids and sirens 2 totally different things, or are we mermaids? We get attacked, and through our trauma, we emerge as sirens.
You know what? I'm gonna go with the last one because I feel like they have so many similarities. And I think, like, even with the half bird thing, that still confused me because I'm like, show proof. Like, I've never seen a half bird. Like, that one, I was just like, I just had to throw that in there for, like, differences. But I'm like, I feel like...
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard that either. So I feel like sirens get a bad rep because you got to have an enemy. You got to have a villain. I feel like sirens are probably they're probably not even that bad. First of all, pirates are bad people. And some sailors are bad people. So... maybe you was out there antagonizing the woman on the rock, and then you want to call her a bad girl because you throwing, what is those hooks things at her? And I'm like, why she gotta be evil? This her land, nigga. Like, why you out here?
So when I think of Sirens, I think of Vampire Diaries, and they were like definitely like luring people in for like the devil, but maybe that's unrelated.
You know what? It probably is factual, but I think they're the same kind of person. That's just like a bitchy friend and a non.
I'm just about to say that the sirens are the
bitchy friend
evil,
ain't really the bitchy friend ain't that bad of a person. First of all, she's
just
probably
real.
bitchy.
She's just keeping it real.
But you don't want to keep it real, so you're gonna call her a bitch. So it's just like I feel like that's what Sirens is, and I'm actually pro villain sometimes because bitch, keep it interesting.
I love a good.
You want to lure a nigga in to kill him? Like it.
You know what? What I learned about villains though, they don't even be bad. Most of the time, it be society that makes them quote unquote bad.
And you know what's funny? Because now I want to talk about villains and good people, and typically how the good people are really the bad people, and the bad people are typically the good people. You know what I can think offhand? Blair and Serena. Bitch, Blair wasn't a villain. Blair wasn't a villain. Serena was a villain. She sucked.
I have to go.
Damn. Wait, bitch,
sorry, y'all.
Sorry, I got some. I'm sorry. That's another episode, though. That is another episode. But, that's like the first kind of origin story. The second one is what I like more because I'm like, this sounds more believable.
Okay.
So, they say she was a regular goddess, just vibing, living.
Addie, right?
Addie was a regular goddess. She was just in the heavens, being a god or whatever she was doing. And she fell in love with a mortal man. I like when I know, girl, I like when it does that because no, hold on, get a little interesting. They end up having a child, but then somehow she accidentally kills the husband. I don't know how she did that. And then out of sadness and shame, she throws herself into a lake attempting to kill herself.
I'm like, into a mermaid.
They ain't doing that. They ain't doing that anymore even.
Wait, so when she threw herself into the water, did she die and become a mermaid? Or she turned into, or she realized she was a mermaid?
This is crazy, right? Because they said prior to her trying to kill herself, she was cursed. But see, this is weird. She was cursed with eternal beauty and youth. So through the attempt to...
Is that a curse?
That's what I was confused. I said, first, bitch, that would be my life.
Yeah,
like, bitch, I'm young, hot. Like, my curse.
Through every decade.
Like, I'm like, that's just some bullshit people make up. So I'm like, anyways, cursed through eternal beauty and youth. So, you know, she attempting to commit suicide. She doesn't kill herself, but then she's turned into a half fish. I thought that was kind of like interesting too, because I'm like, okay, you find a man, mortal man. First of all, how did that happen? Like, I thought you were a goddess, so they just meet a mortal nigga. Then y'all have a kid, and then you kill him. They didn't give much detail on how she killed him. I want to know. Like,
I want to know as well. How do you accidentally
did you split him in half? Like, what did you do? Did your powers just like overtake him? I want to know.
Ooh, I have a question. Yeah. Don't know if you know the answer.
Yeah.
Can mermaids have legs, or are they just stuck with their fins?
According to Aquamarine, a mermaid movie, they can have legs during the daytime. But if you get water on the legs, then they turn to...
Isn't that H2O?
No, that's Aquamarine with Emma Roberts.
Oh.
It's a good movie. It's such a cute kid movie. I like that movie.
Wasn't that the same with H2O though?
Yeah.
If they got wet.
Wait a minute. H2O was with the three besties, right?
Yeah.
They were mermaids by night, humans by day?
Yeah. If they got wet, they had to get in the water.
So maybe that... I'm going to say that might be factual because I don't...
That's fact.
That's facts. So we're gonna say that's facts. So somehow killed him out of sadness and shame. She just had to kill herself. I'm like, boobs, it's all right.
Don't ever go outside for no nigga.
You know what I mean? Like killing yourself, it's a bit much. But you know, love.
Don't ever go outside for no nigga.
Love, I guess, whatever. But then it kind of looks stupid because you still lived and you turned into a mermaid. So I don't know what you're doing. But if you're wondering about the daughter, if she survived, she did. Her name was Semiramis. Weird names back in the day.
Semi-Sam.
And then she ended up becoming the legendary queen of Syria. Isn't that so cute for her? As her mom was the goddess of Syria.
Oh.
Her daughter ended up becoming the queen of Syria.
Now, is the daughter documented? Like as a real person?
Like, I saw a picture of her.
Oh, so she was documented as a real person.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So I was like, okay, so like legacy. So then that makes me think that Addie had to be real because, like, if you're a queen of Syria, then your mama was a mermaid. And
I don't think Addie was real. I just think people was bored back then, like they is now, and just was making it up. Hey yo.
But based on just like, you know, the research I've done, there's like, you know how like there's information about things, but it is still kind of a research based topic. Like I feel like new information is being found all the time about it.
Yeah.
So like and I didn't want to kind of overwhelm myself with the information because like I'm not even gonna hold you. Mermaid. I didn't realize that like people dedicate their freaking days and lives to mermaid. I'm like, dude, I was just trying to have a little fun. No, I watched a freaking like 12-minute pop. Yep. Why do you not? It was like a 12-minute, you know, during COVID when there was like people on conference calls and they would record it.
Yes.
It was like from like an Oxford University. I lie to you not. And
talking
they had
about
like
mermaids?
Lie to you not. A 12-minute clip. And I was kind of bored because, you know, people, professors be bored. But then I was just like, people really like dedicate their lives to this. And kudos to you because do your research, boo. But going from that like little conference thing, there's still a huge debate about just like how mermaids, how she started as a mermaid, how she transformed into one over time. I feel like a lot of the stories, I just chose those two because in a sense they felt most practical and understanding to me. Because like I said, doing research, it was kind of challenging, like just to even understand, interpret, and then be able to relay it back to everyone. I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to relay that back. So let me just pick the simplest stories. But it's kind of cool how like there are correlations of just like mermaids. It even goes into other sea creatures, which may be other topics I talk about. And just how they, like, I feel like the ocean, I don't know how you feel about it.
The ocean is scary. The ocean is scary. I would never get on a cruise ship. Stop asking me to go on a cruise ship. I won't do it.
Cruises are fun, bro.
I will never get on a cruise ship because then you're going to be looking like Jack and Rose in the water.
Oh. First of all,
it's not given.
I'm not even going to hold you. That story upsets me because that nigga was poor.
First of all, she could have saved Jack. But you know what? Something about the Titanic, though?
What?
Wasn't no black people in there.
You know what? Good for them.
Shout out to racism. Wasn't no black.
Did you shed a tear on Titanic? I cried.
I mean, the movie's like 5 hours long. After I fucking watch it for an hour, go to sleep, wake back up, the shit's still on. I
stayed up and watched that entire movie, and
I never cried.
I cried when water started coming into the boat. I was freaking out. I cried when...
What age are we right now? What age are you watching this and crying?
Okay, I'm like 21.
That's fucking
like
crazy.
Recent. Yeah, I was crying.
That's the first time you saw Titanic?
Yeah, that was my first time watching it too. I was shedding tears. I was crying. I thought it was stupid that like, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about that Titanic, but I thought it was stupid. I started crying when the music was playing. I was like, when did I start crying? I started crying when the music was playing and then it was getting on boats and shit. That shit made me sad.
I ain't gonna hold you. Once I found out they was racist and that's why no black people was on there, I was like, oh.
What had to happen. And then I cried when Jack just went into the abyss. I was like,
girl, she could have saved him.
You thought that door was big enough to hold them niggas? No.
You talking about when
they was in the water? Yeah. Think so?
I think
I don't think it would have leveled out. I think they would have crashed.
But you know, have you ever seen we getting so off topic.
I'm sorry. But no, it's about water.
Have you ever seen the it was like the real life animation? It was
I did.
This is what Titanic really looked like. Like, because in the movie, it's pretty light. Like, you can see.
Yeah.
And they showed in the animation, like, no, it was like pitch black. Like, you couldn't see anything. That is fucking terrifying.
I'm never going to hold you. When I went on a cruise, my parents gifted my brother and I a cruise for a graduation gift when I graduated from college. And when I looked out my window, and we were like lower level, like the waves was hitting us. shit was kind of terrifying.
No, I will never.
And at night, you think it's beautiful. No, bitch, I should. It's actually scary. So I stayed inward the entire time. Granted, I had a fun ass time on the cruise. I finally got to go out the country, all that good stuff. But it was intense.
I'm real good on it.
It was intense. I can't even lie. Circling back to Miss
Addie.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the sculptures. I will put a picture of the sculpture. I thought the sculptures were kind of interesting. I mean, they had her sitting on a throne. I thought it was a little confusing because she's a mermaid, but it must have been pre-mermaid because maybe she was a goddess then. You know how sculptures back in the olden times, like Roman times, where it's just like it's a little challenging to depict. I don't know if how you feel, like where you're just like, what am I looking at? Like what the fuck? I could see the lions and I could see a face, but I don't know what I'm looking at. You get what I'm saying? So I tried to find a picture again and put it in the video, but I was kind of just like, okay, so they have documentation of who she may or may have not been, but then again, I feel like that's your own interpretation because honestly, I could have said that was me. I could have said that was my ancestors. So you know what I mean? Like, I guess it's all up to your own interpretation of it. But I did have 2 fun facts just about mermaids. Okay. So the end of a mermaid's tail is called a fluke.
Interesting.
Yes. And then, I already said this one, but mermaids typically lure in sailors and pirates by serenading. So they always have really nice, beautiful voices. Bitch, that's Shrek. That is Shrek.
But it sounds...
It's serenading, and Cameron Diaz ate that, because, she definitely ate
Latina
that.
mommy.
Latina mommy.
Cameron Diaz is Latina. She's a white Latina. They have those.
I just thought she was a white woman.
You know what
Diaz? Duh. Diaz. You know, my bad, Cameron. My bad, girl. But all in all, mermaids are kind of cool. I feel like you should believe in them because, my biggest theory on just like when they talk about stories like this, if it's talked about, it must kind of exist. Like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like a little bit of truth.
It's like a little bit of truth. Granted, there might not be, people who descend from the heavens and eggs and doves and incubators. Yeah, that might not be factual, but the ocean is just so we don't know. Like, I feel like space, we know a little bit. The ocean, now there's how you know. Like, it's parts of the ocean light don't see. Come on now, like
scary.
That's terrifying. So like throughout the entire day, no light sees it. So
I've seen things about like Caribbean mermaids, like, and it's just been like little posts here and there. But apparently, like, I want to say Jamaica specifically.
Yes.
It's like if you see a mermaid, like you not supposed to go to it. Like they not nice.
Wow.
That's like Jamaican lore.
Like that is like a sign, like, do not go towards that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, if I saw a mermaid, I probably wouldn't go to it. I'm not even gonna hold you like, bitch, that's terrifying. That's like seeing an octopus. Like, octopuses are like aliens. Like, I would never go towards an octopus. That's like terrifying. But I do think that mermaids exist not only just like for like mythological culture. I feel like they kind of serve that kind of sailor vibe culture. And I hope I'm like trying to explain this correctly because like I feel like captains, boat people, sailors, they have their own kind of culture and kind of like storytelling. And like I feel like
mermaids are a part
I think it's a part of that culture. So it's just like, I feel like, especially when it comes to like things to watch out for, and like I just remember the Scooby-Doo episode, guys. If you guys are into Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, to be specific. There's an episode where it was a siren, and she lured her in. She lured in Velma with her voice, and
Velma's a lesbian.
She is in the HBO special, but they should bring that back. That was a good show. But the siren / mermaid, she was kind of like educating Velma on like mermaids and shit. And I was like, it was so cool because I'm just like, if it's not real, where are you getting information from? You know what I mean? Like, where are you getting this kind of information from? Where are you? Yeah. So what did you find? Yeah.
I actually just looked up the Jamaican mermaid.
Yeah.
So there's a legend, and the Jamaican mermaid's name is River Mama.
Okay.
And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says, Okay. According to some legends, River Mama is the guardian of a golden table that was thrown into the river by Spanish conquistadors when they arrived in Jamaica. Ooh. On hot days at noon, the table will sometimes rise from the water and hover there. If anybody tries to steal it, it will sink to the bottom of the river. The would-be thief will often drown after grabbing onto it. Despite the trouble that River Mama causes, she cannot be driven out by the people because of her relationship with the fish. Ooh. And in some stories, River Mama only allows those with good intentions to cross her river, while those with bad intentions turn back or drown in the water.
I love it. Because you know what? I like a bitch who take control of her land. Like, bitch, you in my waters. You ain't gonna come over here and
I like that.
Do what you want. See, again, I feel like mermaids are definitely again, what was Little Mermaid, or what was Ariel's dad? Tritus?
Triton.
Thank you. Triton was the king of the sea. So it's just like, again, how can you not believe it? Like, this shit is real. Like, people are down there.
He was a merman.
And a hefty merman. He looked good in that the most recent adaptation of it. Look, that's a live version. But anyway.
Diversity and inclusion.
Girl, did you see all the sisters? Like, everybody look good. I like the little afro one. I
like that everybody was from like whatever their race, whatever their race was where the ocean was.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I thought that was good. Oh my god, I saw a weird thing on, like, while doing research that which is kind of like an oxymoron, that some mermaids eat fish, because, like, you know, like the ecosystem of, like, big eats little, little eats little. Yes. Yeah. So they said one of the people I was watching the video, she was saying, like, as like a contrary to, what did I say? Doves and fish were sacred. Yeah. So then she was saying, like, a contrary to, like, do you think that mermaids ate what was in the sea? And that kind of had me thinking too, because then it had me thinking of Little Mermaid, because I'm like, well, if that's the case, Sebastian and Flounder was shit out of luck, because, like,
no, I feel like they was going to, like, the other parts of the ocean to get their food. Like, I'm not gonna eat you. You cool.
You my homeboy or whatever. But then I'm like, that kind of makes sense, because, like, what did they eat on? What did they feed on? And I think I was trying to kind of, like, I did get, like, a little research on, like, what they ate. They said that they ate a variety of plants. Okay. And then fish and crustaceans in the ocean. So, but then it kind of, again, oxymoron, because it's just like, you probably eat the lower level, but it's still fish, so you're still kind of eating your own people.
Well, it'd be like the.
But then they also said they ate sailors and pirates. So cannibalism. But, like, I thought that was kind of, like, interesting, because again, I would love to just be like a little seagull in the sky, you know, just chilling.
Seagull?
And then, hear me out. Okay. Seagull in the sky, just fly. Mermaid doing her little sing, hit a little dance, boo, bye, bring your ass over here. And then, you know, the sailor like, what's up, yo? And then, you know, she just like knock his ass out with the tail, like, damn! Knock his ass with the tail.
I'm trying to understand.
Then, like, grab his ass, bash him down, then be like, dinner.
I feel like she just drowned him.
Ooh,
like, I feel like she don't even. I feel like she just
with the tail.
I feel like she don't even do all that unless he can swim. No, he probably can swim.
He probably can swim, because if you're a sailor, you probably can swim.
So yeah, she probably wrapped the tail around him, go under the water, and just.
Nah, mermaids are low-key badass. Yeah. I don't know. If you're a mermaid out there and you want to tell your story. I don't
think mermaids have access to social media.
Why not? Why deprive them of YouTube and podcasts? Yeah. Why? If you're a mermaid out there and you want to tell your story, you can just be incognito. You don't even got to expose your mermaid. Just put a comment down below. But that was my lovely tale and lovely fun facts. And how do you pronounce your name again, sweetie?
Atticus.
That is not her name. Atargatis.
Lord Addie from over west.
Lord Addie from... You be from over sea. Yeah, overseas, right? Yeah, you see that? From overseas.
You just as bad as Flem. Y'all the same.
From overseas. Tell me that. Little Atargatis from overseas. Yeah, that's her. But I hope you guys enjoyed those lovely facts of her. If you want to do your own research, please, by all means,
We'll make sure we pop some pictures of her.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments or feedback on Miss Atargatis?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for tuning in to another episode. And check out our next episode next week.
Bye.
Bye guys.